Automakers say they face $14 billion in fines from Biden's unfeasible fuel economy rules. Reuters. Washington. Reuters. The Biden administration proposal to hike fuel economy standards through 2032 is not feasible and old cost automakers a total of more than $14 billion in fines, an automotive group said Friday. The Alliance for Automotive Innovation, which represents General Motors, Toyota Motor, Volkswagen, Hyundai and others, said the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration corporate average fuel economy proposal exceeds maximum feasibility in that the agency projects manufacturers will pay over $14 billion in non-compliance penalties between 2027 and 2032. A separate document viewed by Reuters said the Detroit 3, GM, Ford Motor and Chrysler parent Stellantis, would face about $10 billion in CAFE fines in that period. Below are your comments. Many people will be pushed out of car ownership and put afoot because the cost of cars are becoming unaffordable. Government interference is making Henry Ford's dream of making a car for the everyman unreachable. Battery-operated cars forced by government into the marketplace are a big part of So rather than fixing something that cannot be fixed, the companies will increase the sale price of the vehicles to cover the fine so we all get to pay it. This is just another tax, and corporations don't pay taxes, people do. When too many consumers move to EV by force, government will state that not enough tax money being collected. There will be new type of bogus taxes to make up for the gas taxes. Either way, consumers get hit from the front and rear. Biden, through his political appointees, more than doubled the required fleet MPG and set 2026 as the deadline. It was deliberately impossible, as evidenced by the talking head saying that they could always just make more EVs. The problem is that they cannot make EVs in the volume necessary, and I'm curious. Oil is still being made by nature, albeit at a slower pace than we consume it. But compared to lithium, oil is renewable. Next news. Rich Americans are flocking to these states. Smart asset. Households that make over $200,000 annually comprise just a sliver of all tax returns that are filed in a given year, but their movement between states can have a significant financial impact. When a state loses more high-earning tax filers. Continue reading right. Pointing arrow. The post where high-earning households are moving 2022 study appeared first on Smart Asset blog. Below are your comments. Most of the people in D.C. work for the government. Many people in D.C. make over $200K a year, and D.C. has the largest proportion of high earners. Me thinks there is something wrong here. The sad thing is people flee their high tax states to lower tax states and immediately start voting for more services from the government. Here in Durango Company, I don't think there was a bond increase or new tax the liberal voters didn't vote for. My real estate tax is 50% higher than Colorado require. Very happy we moved out of northern Jersey to South Virginia. Real estate tax 1/4 what it was and our house is higher value. Nice part is that schools, parks and services are better. A big reason we moved wasn't the taxes, but the attitude. In northern Jersey, everything was the fault of the rich. Despite losing 11,756 tax filers who reported at least $200,000 in income in 2020, the Sunshine Stat added 32,019 high-earning households that same year. That's a net addition of 20,263 high-income filers. I doubt those 11,756 moved to other states. Next news. How to collect $1,000 per month from Warren Buffett's favorite dividend stock. Benzinga. Legendary investor Warren Buffett has achieved astounding returns throughout his career. From 1964 to 2022, his company Berkshire Hathaway Inc. NYSE. BRK. Delivered an overall gain of 3,787,464%, dwarfing the S&P 500's 24,708% return during the same period. Other than picking stocks that skyrocketed in value, Buffett also collects dividends. A lot of dividends. Buffett famously said, "If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die." Don't miss. Elon Musk has. Below are your comments. Anyone who talks dividends without talking about yields and total return isn't giving you good advice. If I just put in money market account like SPAXX or government issued bonds, I get around 5%. Now, if I calculate 5% of $377,000, it comes around $1,500 per month, which is far better than $1,000 per month. Locking $377,000 for a mere $1,000 return per month doesn't make any sense and is a bad bet. With the same $377,000 pocket change you have laying around, you could also put it into a high-yield savings account paying 5%. This will return $1,570 per month risk-free. Of course, if savings rates drop, Coke might be more attractive. Great news. All I have to do to get $1,000 a month is buy $377,000 worth of Coke stock. Next news. The Series 1 bond frenzy is dying. Should I cash out now? Smart asset. Inflation has begun to cool, and that may translate to some assets. The Treasury's Series 1 bonds, or I bonds, are no longer the prized savings tool they were 12 months ago. As cost increases slowed over the past year as Federal Reserve raised interest rates, it was inevitable that this inflation-tied asset would. The Series 1 bond frenzy is dying down. Is now the time to cash out? Appeared first on Smart Reads by Smart Asset. Below are your comments. Bought EE bonds for my daughters in mid-80s, and when I bonds were offered in late 90s we solely bogue. HT the I bond. We averaged two $500 bonds a month until 2007 on all bonds for our girls. Our daughters have never asked for their bonds, so I have no idea what they are even worth. They have a face VA. I-bonds fixed rate is now 0.9%, will be recalculated November 1st. It will be higher, likely in the 1.2% - 1.5% range. Total interest rate equals fixed plus variable, inflation-based. That fixed rate is pretty high for I-bonds that will be for the life of the bonds, 30 years. I plan to buy my year's quota in November. A lot of folks exited too soon. The penalty for exiting early is forfeiting the last interest paid. If you exit right when the rates drop, you are forfeiting the previous rate of return. You have to wait until that lousy rate of return is actually paid out, then exit and forfeit the low-si rate. Please wait a moment. Next news. Dow Jones falls as Yellen issues warning, inflation cools. Tesla rises ahead of Q3 deliveries. Investors Business Daily. The Dow Jones fell after PCE data showed cooling inflation. Tesla rose ahead of Q3 deliveries on outlook for Model 3 and Cybertruck. Below are your comments. Though the market has been experiencing a lot of fluctuations, I advise to remain optimistic. It's just like the never-ending recession rumors. I am not an expert, but I do believe in the historically proven growth potential of the markets. If I had listened and acted on all the recession rumors, talk about a need to retire, Yellen should have left a long time ago. It would be best for the people if the current government was shut down and completely replaced. How nice it would be to not have to listen to the bumbling 537 in the current cartel. Inflation cools? Then when will the gas and food prices go back to 3 years ago prices? Never, as long these people are in charge. Demand age limits for government employees and Congress now. Next news. Racketeers built the unions. Peter Schiff slams Biden's claim that unions built the middle class, warns of a financial crisis, worse than 2008. Benzinga. President Joe Biden recently made history by being the first sitting president to join striking auto workers on the picket line. Speaking through a bullhorn outside a General Motors plant in Michigan, Biden voiced his support for the United Auto Workers Union strike. Wall Street didn't build the country. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class. And that's a fact. So, let's keep going, he said. You deserve what you've earned, and you've earned a hell of a lot. Below are your comments. Only people will not buy at 8% unless the price goes down. So get ready for home price correction. Was improvement of woe. Unions were necessary in so many ways in the early 1900s and were the force behind making the American can dream possible for millions. They got out of hand last half of the century, particularly with pensions, but are necessary again because capitalists keep trying to push labor costs down. Unions did build the middle class. Next news. What's an actually realistic retirement rate of return? Smart asset. Everyone loves seeing growth in their portfolio. However, a good year of investing doesn't necessarily indicate a sound long-term investment strategy. Generating sufficient retirement income means planning ahead of time but being able to adapt to evolving circumstances. Continue reading right pointing arrow the post What is a realistic rate of return for retirement? Appeared first on Smart Asset blog. Below are your comments. Invest in index funds like S&P 500 and eliminate that 0.5 to 1% fees. Realistic return long term is 7%. Sometimes 10 to 12% and many years 3 to 5%. 2000 to 2010 was lost decade. In 2011 to 2020 S&P 500 returned 14%. Averaging it out over 2 decades, it is 7%. Using any data from the last 10 years period is totally unreliable. The Feds artificially kept rates low and the markets and real estate boomed. Use much more conservative estimates for the next 10 to 15 years and follow some rules if you are pulling dollar from a portfolio. I don't pay as much attention to the rate as I do the income my investments generates. $60,000 a year in interest income is more than enough for me. Next news. You need this much income to be rich in America. Smart asset. Earning more money can make it easier to pay the bills, fund your financial goals and spend on hobbies or fun, but what income is considered to make you rich? The answer can depend on several factors, including where you continue reading right pointing arrow the post What income level is considered rich? Appeared first on Smart Asset blog. Below are your comments. Has anyone here actually become rich by following the advice of a financial planner? Being rich has nothing to do with income. Wealth is a measure of prosperity. Wealth is rich. I know people with high incomes who have no wealth and people with modest incomes who have substantial wealth. Measuring rich by income is a definition usually reserved for clueless, demagogue politic. Dollar amount alone shouldn't be a criteria to be in any tax or rich folks bracket, e.g. $100,000 in one state may get you much more compared to some other state. Cost of living in a state matters. Next news. 9 stocks turned $10,000 into $139,936 in 9 months. Investors Business Daily. Stocks tanked right on cue in September. But nimble S&P 500 investors are still finding ways to make big money. Below are your comments. Totally absurd. You have to pick the winning stock out of 500, the one which will have the biggest gain in a specific month. You have to consistently do it for 12 months in a row, a different stock every month. Think you have a better chance at winning the Powerball jackpot? 6 numbers turn $2 into $500 million overnight. Powerball. Way to cherry-pick 4 stocks that are up while the S&P has been lower for 2 straight quarters now. The year's 12% gain doesn't even begin to make up for last year's 20% drop. 2 years of zero stock market gains. And counting. That's the real news, folks. No. This article should read Stock Picks if you own a time machine. Yeah, just buy random lottery tickets with that $10K and hope that one of your tickets will win in Luke. KY draw open mouth smile. Next news. U.S. oil production nears record as Texas shale output soars. Bloomberg. U.S. crude production reached the second highest level on record in July as output from Texas's Permian Basin soared to an all-time high. Most read from Bloomberg. Europe's richest royal family builds $300 billion finance empire. Pakistan Rupee set to become top-performing currency globally. Bleep claim in Canada is only helping India. Leader Modi at home. Weight loss drugs estimated to save airlines millions. Top Chinese scientist claims India moon landing nowhere near South Pole. The Nation. Below are your comments. Oil production from fracking is expensive, time-consuming, and difficult. It's not like turning on a light switch with immediate benefit. From the time land is leased, drilling prep is done, drilling is done, fracking is done, pumping is set up, all take many months. The production we see now is If most of the increased production is from fracking, that means it's predominantly light and ultra-light, which means a lot of it will be exported. US refineries are mostly set up to process heavy crude. Looks like fully COVID healed. Back to exactly where it was pre-COVID. This is all a healing process. Next news. The renewable energy revolution is here. Goldman Sachs suggests 3 green stocks to buy. Tip ranks. The energy landscape is constantly evolving, and today we are witnessing a significant shift. The latest edition of Goldman Sachs Carbonomics report outlines the likely mid to long-term course of America's shale revolution. This report examines the technological advancements in exploration and extraction that transformed the U.S. into a net oil exporter by 2018. Written under the leadership of the 5-star analyst Michel Della Vigna, the report elucidates the maturation and concluding phases of the. Below are your comments. Article is a lie. I will not be buying, perhaps there is a short here instead. Apollo Global Management has a majority ownership interest in Yahoo. Verizon has the remaining 10% ownership in Yahoo. Yahoo used to be a simple search engine before various changes in ownership. The Yahoo website displays biased news articles all over its main landing page. Yahoo also does a go. Love my solar panels. Dropped my electric bill to zero and charged my backup batteries for night use and emergencies. Best money I ever spent. Why so many biofuels using hydrocarbons that do the exact same as fossil fuels? Oh wait, I get it now. A transitory money funnel for oil corporations. Next news. Why stocks may just roll into an October correction. Yahoo Finance. The headwinds are beginning to outnumber the tailwinds in the markets. Below are your comments. Recession is now the most likely outcome for the economy, and I cannot imagine being a victim of circumstances. My portfolio suffered a big hit. Holding it further won't be any good. I've heard of people netting hundreds of thousands this red season. How can I ensure this? They're saying that stocks could go up or down in October. I'll have to trade according to that really specific forecast. Actually, we're 5 weeks into one and most stocks have peeled off 5 to 6%. Or the market may bounce back over the next 3 months after the correction that already took place in August to Sept. Some would say all the bad news is already baked in and opportunities for a flat or growth market is more likely. August U.S. personal savings rate, 3.50%, averages 8.80% 1959 to 2023. Next news. Microsoft revealed this week that Apple used Bing as a bargaining chip with Google, but it report DLY considered buying it and bringing search in-house. Fortune. Microsoft held preliminary talks about selling Bing to the iPhone maker, which would have made Bing the default search on its devices instead of Google, Bloomberg reports. Below are your comments. Bing is marginal as a search engine. Google should not have been so scared. Microsoft doesn't know how to fix it. At least in this testimony it shows that Apple was the one that made the big move. Apple says it cares about user privacy, then pushes the Google data miner on their users. So terrible that Apple just doesn't have its own search engine and better privacy than both Google and Bing. How can MS ditch Bing and give it to Apple? It ain't possible. Even if it sells to Apple, MS will start another with a different name within a year using AI. In fact, Apple stock is overvalued. Nobody uses Bing because it is designed as nothing more than a tool to try to sell Microsoft products. I've never bought an Apple product, ever. Seems like Apple is like a leftist, Democrat-exclusive fad item, sort of like Starbucks or Ben & Jerry's. RRY. I buy Dunkin', McDonald's coffee and Blue Bell, Bunny ice cream. I buy Samsung, Motorola phones, Microsoft Windows and use Google. Next news. How do I calculate spousal Social Security benefits? Smart Asset. Fact-checked by Jeff White, edited by Mike Obel. If you're grappling with the best way to plan for your retirement, Understanding how to maximize your Social Security spousal benefits is a significant piece of the puzzle. These benefits can substantially influence your retirement income, and becoming familiar with their ins and outs is crucial. The post How to Calculate Spousal Social Security Benefits appeared first on SmartReads by Smartass. Below are your comments. The article is about spousal benefits, not survivor benefits. The article states that spousal benefits can be up to 50% of the primary's FRA. 3 things must occur. 1. The primary must be drawing their SS. 2. The primary must have waited until at least their FRA age to begin taking SS, and most Social Security spousal benefits are part of the retirement income that a lower-earning spouse can receive based on the higher-earning spouse's work record. Not necessarily. A younger, higher-earning spouse can delay their payments and collect spousal benefits. If they start when they reach their Ignore Smart Asset. SSA has their own more accurate calculators you can plug what-ifs into using our own real data. For us this works out to be a pretty substantial extra monthly benefit, particularly if we both wait until FRA. Delaying SS has a compound effect so that for each extra dollar you collect by delaying, your spouse can collect another half on top of that. Something to consider. Next news. Extremely frustrating. Homeowner lives in van while deadbeat tenant lists unit on Airbnb. Here are 2 hassle-free ways to invest in real estate. Benzinga. Investing in real estate often seems straightforward. Purchase a house, lease it and receive monthly rent from the tenant. But reality doesn't always follow the script, as Jason Roth of Seattle can attest. Roth rented out his home in Rainier Valley but the tenant stopped paying rent. Roth is now owed $29,000 in unpaid rent plus utilities. Roth is living in a van with his dog Wally, Hero 7 News reported. It's frustrating, extremely frustrating. It's something I can't fully wrap my head around. Below are your comments. There is really something wrong with the property laws that continue to allow this to go on. If they don't pay their rent owed, they should be able to be vacated within a few days and make restitution on what is owed. When the law cannot solve your problem, you have to take matters into your own hands. Some may consider the ways to resolve this problem are somewhat unethical or extreme but necessary. I wonder what would have happened if the owner had gotten the Airbnb unit and moved in and then said to leave. If the tenant called the police to have him removed, the owner could show them he owned the property. Unfortunately, there is a process for evicting someone legally. Wrongful eviction is a tort and you can be sued for taking matters into your own hands. Progressive cities like Seattle have given all the rights to the tenants. My advice is for this guy to sell the home and never be a landlord and see. I finally got my squatting tenant out of my rental house, and it took more than a year. Also, she destroyed the house in the process. Now, the risk is too high to be a landlord in King County. The laws here are totally wrong. It didn't even matter that she violated the lease in at least 4 ways. Next news. Oil prices are headed down. Occidental stock looks like a buy. Barron's.com. Higher prices today than those expected in the future means that energy stocks aren't getting full credit for the rise in current prices. It's good news for producers like Occidental Petroleum. Below are your comments. Both supply and demand for crude and its products is volatile and hypersensitive to shortages or production in excess of immediate needs. This sensitivity leads to volatile pricing of crude, gas, etc. The additional complication is that it takes time to develop more production, to build the refiner. Headed down? To $91? Oil down? Maybe until the day after the 300 days of mail in 2024 ballots. Chevron stalled at 170. Until natural gas prices double soon. The Yahoo headline writers are a pack of trashy B1 visa holders from Pakistan. Next news. China stock investors say worst yet to come in property crisis. Bloomberg. China's property sector has yet to see the worst of the crisis that has cast a pall over the NAT's economy and helped drive an exodus of global funds from the world's second-largest stock market. Most read from Bloomberg. Europe's richest royal family builds $300 billion finance empire. Pakistan Rupee set to become top-performing currency globally. Bleep claim in Canada is only helping India lead. R. Modi at home. Weight loss drugs estimated to save airlines millions. Top Chinese scientists. Below are your comments. The CCP is trying to censor all economic reporting, and such is a very bad sign. The problems are systemic. Be wary of any outlets and/or institutions claiming otherwise, as they are likely trying to protect their interests and not yours. The embattled developer said it was notified that the compa lol! No job for youth equals no buyers equals no marriage equals no babies. Bye China. Don't miss this golden opportunity. Can use less money to buy high-value prosperity in the future. No red commies here because they don't want to read bad news for the CCP. What a joy! Lol. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.